Agbo Wendy said she lost 2 babies at LUTH. She blames the fatalities on negligence of the medical staff. The first was in 2004. She was referred to LUTH when her water broke, but the doctor told her to go home.
I gave the doctor the referee letter, and he read it and told me, "Can you get me a glove?" And my husband ran and got a gloves, and he wore the gloves and checked me and said, "Madam, you can go home by Monday." This thing happened on a Friday. He said, "You can go home by Monday, you deliver. If you don't deliver by Monday, you come back." Foolishly, I went home.
Udebo was recently bereaved. His wife, Ngozi Udebo, got severely sick after a rigorous church exercise and was rushed to LUTH in an apparent emergency.
They prescribed some drugs for me to go and get. Of course, I went to the pharmacy. What they had there was only the disinfectant, the spirits, the box of gloves and everything. The main drugs that they would have injected her, they don't have it. So I had to go outside to go and buy. Then I administered it on her. You know, at least after a while, I saw that there was some improvement, mobility improved.
Uzbet assumed the worst was over when she was moved from the emergency ward to a private ward where he was so wrong.
When we got in there, I saw that the curtain of my wife's bed was already drawn. I had had experience of losing my uncle at LUTH, so when I saw that, I knew what it meant immediately. But I did not want that truth to sink into me. I was wishing away the reality that was before me. I had to get there, and of course, I shoved the nurse aside and opened the place, and I saw the lifeless body of my wife. It was the rudest shock perhaps I will ever get in my life. And of course, I had to tell them to do an autopsy. And when they did an autopsy, the report of the autopsy was reading asphyxia. And when I Googled asphyxia from my phone, it says lack of supply of oxygen to the vital parts of the body. What does that tell me and you? It means that my wife was suffocated. The oxygen supply system was not working.
She died, leaving behind 4 beautiful children. He believes his wife would still be alive if LUTH had not been negligent.
In the section where she was, there was no light inside. Up to the fact that when the first place they put the intravenous something on her hand, tissued, to get another one was a battle. When it became dark, I had to use the touch of my phone to aid the doctor to trace the vein. How can 2 nurses attend to more than 35 patients? If 5 of them requires attention at the same time, they can only get to 2. What happens to the other 3? The whole system, okay, inside there, even inside that ward, I was made to buy a fan. My friend had to go out that night to go and buy a rechargeable fan so that at least she can get ventilation.
While the chairman medical advisory committee of LUTH agrees she died of asphyxia, shortness of oxygen, he insists LUTH is not to blame for her death.
She was given oxygen, but you can give a person oxygen and the oxygen does not get into the patient for various reasons. Either the lungs are not working properly, or there is an inflammation in the lungs, or there is fluid in the lungs. For instance, if a person is drowning, he will have water in his lungs, even if you give him oxygen. If a post-mortem is done on that person, they will say asphyxiation. And that is similar to what happened here.
We asked him to confirm if they had enough nurses to go round and if the facilities available in the hospital were sufficient to meet the needs of the dozens of patients it receives daily.
An average ward in LUTH has between 15 to 20 patients. And most of them have between 3 to 5 nurses on duty. But you might see 2 nurses because out of the 3 or 4 nurses, one of them might have gone to the pharmacy.
We were not allowed to take pictures or to film the wards, but a visit did confirm that there are not enough beds in the accident and emergency ward. We could not see the particular oxygen cylinder she was placed on, but this is what they look like. Power supply is also not stable.
We have many generators. Many of them are running almost non-stop until they overheat and have to be either shut down to prevent damage, or until we just say, okay, let these generators rest for a few hours, let us refuel, let them cool down, and we put them on. We cannot have uninterrupted power supply if backup becomes the main source of power. The facilities are old. Many of them may require replacement, but that is not something that LUTH can handle alone. Those are things for the federal government.
According to the Nigerian Medical Association website, there are more than 40,000 medical doctors in Nigeria, serving a population of about 160 million Nigerians. There is an estimated 1 doctor per 5,000 Nigerians compared to 1 doctor per 242 in the UK. On Saturday, some Lagosians, angered by Ngozi's death, took to the streets to protest negligence in Nigerian hospitals. They walked from Surulere to LUTH.
Who will be the next? Who will be the next? Who will be the next victim?
Their placards bore various inscriptions. At LUTH, both the protesters and some patients were shut out, but the protesters were not deterred.
I was sent here purposely to report it not only to my organization internationally, but also to most of the international human rights organizations who are interested in this matter. Because the wrath in Nigeria has gotten to a stage of beyond medical problem, the electricity problem, and other problems, which we are calling on the federal government to do something now or never. Because a lot of it is Ngozi today, yesterday it was somebody, tomorrow it's going to be somebody.
The protest is not just about the death of Ngozi Udebe. The protesters say they are concerned about the future generation. They want to see a Nigeria where innocent Nigerians will not die in our medical institutions out of avoidable deaths. And so they want the government to intervene promptly. Wendy, Agbo, TVC News, Lagos.